Hello everyone, Mark Latham here. I thought I'd do a video reply to somebody that came through on one of our videos, Jehovah's Witnesses, Disfellowshipped and Waking Up Part 2. We did that quite a while ago. But there's an individual that's come on. I'm going to call him Michael because he's left us with a question and he's asking for some support, some advice on what he should do and what would be our view on his particular predicament that he's in right now. He has shared it privately, so I won't mention his name, and as a result it's probably better if I just use this this false name, aka also known as Michael, for the time being. So what I am going to do is, and I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning what he's written because there's no names or identification here, but I wanted to share this with you, Michael, so that others can read this as well, and I welcome their points of view and see what they think also. But let's just read what he said, and I quote, Mark and Cora, hi there, was hoping to get some advice from your experiences. I myself am currently a JW, but I'm going to my Judicial committee next week. I'm very nervous and would prefer just not to go, but at the same time I currently live at home with my mum and brother, and they are already getting on to me for not going to meetings and service, and well, after what I did. I know I'm going to be disfellowshipped. I'm wondering if I should just turn in my letter stating that I want to leave the organisation, or if I should go through with the committee. I want the easier route. Just wish it didn't involve me losing my family and friends. Any advice would be much appreciated. Thank you. So, Michael, there's a couple of different layers to this. First of all, it was just too much to try and write it to you in this on a YouTube reply privately, so I thought it'd be better to just do it this way. But also, this is something that I'd just like to share and debate more out there, because we can never actually share enough of this stuff, and I know a lot of the activists are doing this, so it's prominent and it affects people's lives in devastating ways. Michael right now is facing a judicial committee. It's a process used by Watchtower, jw.org as they like to now be called since their rebranding. But it's the same old methods, it's the same old doctrines, it's the same old methods of control, and it's the same weapons that they use, that they've been using now for many decades. Michael, at this point in time, lives with his brother and lives with his mother. He says he's done something, and as a result, a judicial committee has now been formed. That judicial committee normally will be involving 3 different elders that will be appointed to his judgment, and if they see fit that he has to be disfellowshipped in order to keep the congregation clean, then they will do that and they won't hesitate. What that does then, it leaves Michael and his mother and his brother in a very serious situation, because he's no longer in a position to talk to them. He's no longer in a position to associate with them in the same way that he's done all of his life. From the photograph I'm looking at, Michael seems a young man, and at this stage of his life he's now dreading the thought, based on what I'm reading from this, that he's going to lose his mum and he's going to lose his brother, which puts tremendous pressure on them as well. His mum coercing him, please go back to meetings, please come out in service, get back in the centre of the congregation. Pressure, 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 pressure. But the underlying theme to all of this is that control mechanism that's always been there, Michael, was there long before you were born. And it'll be there for many years until people start demanding change within this corporation, this cult, this toxic grouping that looks at nothing more than using shunning as a weapon. Advice for someone in your predicament right now is something we've been there, and so many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people around the world throughout the years have been in the position that you're in. And you're asking for a choice here. do I just write in a letter and take the easy route? Or do I go into the committee, take my hammering and be disfellowshipped? You seem to think you will be disfellowshipped. Oh, let's assume that you are going to be disfellowshipped. So the choices are stark. Do you resign or are you disfellowshipped? Either way, you will be treated the same. You'll be treated with the same shunning mechanisms that they use. It's a weapon, and it's designed to stop you from resigning. It's designed for you, in your case, to go in on bended knee and see if for some reason they can find a way to reprieve you. If you feel that you can't be you will be disfellowshipped, then obviously I don't know the circumstances behind that. Maybe it's for something that I don't know. I'm guessing here. Maybe you're gay. Maybe you have a drink problem. Maybe you have fallen in love with a woman and you can't let her go. Who knows what the actual incident is about, Michael? But do you know what? That's for you and your conscience. It's not for anybody else. It certainly isn't for those 3 men that will sit in judgment of you. Now, these men that will be sitting in judgment of you have been appointed, so-called, by the Holy Spirit. But we know this is total tosh. I could go into all of the broader issues as why that is tosh, why it's rubbish. But for you right now, the question is, do I or don't I take command and do the letter and lose my family, or go in and be disfellowshipped and lose my family? You see, Michael, right now you're in a checkmate situation. The checkmate situation is this. Either way, the organisation has got you in a firm, clutched grip, and they don't intend to let you go until they've made an example of you. Now, with that in mind, you then have to decide, what does that actually mean? Why am I involved in this organisation? Why is it costing me so much with my family when it has nothing to do with these total strangers about how I apply my life and in my way? It sounds to me, Michael, from the way that you've worded your question, that deep down you're already out of this organisation, but you're still tinkering around the edges. You haven't been to meetings, you've not been on the service. But the last thing you want to do is lose your family. Our hearts go out to you. We at this very time, and there are many, many of us out here, thousands, are being shunned by family, by friends, by people that were once very close to us because we made decisions. And unfortunately, there is no easy answer to this. Either way, Michael, it's going to be painful. But the best place to start is honesty with yourself, honesty with who you are as a person, honesty about what you truly believe, honesty about how you truly love your family. And if you don't believe this organisation is true, which clearly indicates to me from your wording, you don't believe it to be true, like many others that are now waking up and realising that they've been duped for so long. The core answer that I could give you is that you have to look within yourself first and think, and when you look in the mirror, am I being honest with myself? Do I want to stand up and be firm now, and be at least firm in the knowledge that I'm keeping my dignity, I'm keeping my integrity intact, and I'm not going to allow these men to make a judgment over me and punish me and my family? Only you can make that choice, Michael. Only you. It all depends on how you see your family reacting to if you were to say, for example, resign. Or it could be that you feel that you have to go through with the disfellowshipping, and then it's not been down to you to make that decision to leave the organisation. There are no clear ways there are pros and cons either way. And there are many people that have deliberately gone into a disfellowshipping to be cut off so that they can just leave. And they're quite happy to do so. There are others that decide to resign and think that that's the best way because they take some empowerment back. But the after effect is still exactly the same. But the price, Michael, the price is your family. Yes, you already know that. But the overall price of one of integrity, honesty, loving yourself, and being firm that this organisation is very wrong to punish you like they are. We have nothing but admiration for you and respect, and that goes for any others that are going through this so-called judicial hearings that are taking place all over the world, and the threats and the punishments of shunning. It is a weapon, and it's used quite often in many cases with lethal consequences. Many have lost their lives who just can't bear to go on any further and take their own lives. And do you see jw.org, aka Watchtower, I'll put it the other way around now, do you see them crying over that? No. They're psychotic, they're cold, they're not loving, they have nothing to do with Jesus Christ, they have nothing to do with forgiveness. This is all about control. Those elders themselves that will be sat in judgment of you will be imperfect men, and behind the scenes probably have a lot to hide themselves. Oh yes, they do. But they're upholding a system that's been going now for a very long time. A system that they don't feel that they can break, but privately many of these elders now, and we're talking to a lot of them, feel the same way as you do. They're trapped. They're in an organisation that they want to get out of, but the price is high. You are already in that channel for procedure, and there's nothing that can happen. You can ignore it and be disfellowshipped. You can decide to resign and hold your head up high. Do you know what I would advise? Is hold your head up high no matter which decision you take, because this is about your life. They have no right to judge you like they are. Who are these people? Electricians? Window cleaners? Office workers? Suddenly sat in judgment of you, another human being. A judgment that could have severe consequences for your relationship with your family. Your mother, either way, is probably bracing herself for some real pain here. But if you love your mother as much as I think you do, and you love your brother, it must start with you loving yourself. And then the fight starts afterwards. The fight to regain your family. But it's done through love, it's done through integrity, and it's done through honesty. All the things that this organisation knows nothing about. I hope this makes sense, Michael, what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry if I can't give you a clear indication about which way you should go, because only you can make that decision. But either way, you're going to have to face one of those decisions by these total strangers now making a judgment of you and your family. Our heart goes out to you. As for the Watchtower organisation, once again, here's another micro example. Although when I say micro, I mean that with the utmost respect for this family, because it's devastating for them as a core unit. You are destroying or potentially destroying another family. You're putting them in a position where they're on the precipice, where they have to give up something. That bond, the unconditional love. You destroy that. All you're interested in is the conditional love. And this example of Michael and his mother and his brother is a classic example of where you are making these decisions on people. And the phenomena behind all of this is that these men in New York that are making these decisions, that hold these judgments in place as weapons, know nothing about this family, know nothing about the other families and the destruction and the toxicity they cause within those families, within marriages. They know nothing about what this does to society as a whole, as these people try to rebuild their lives after being spiritually executed. You do that, Watchtower, every single time you sit in judgment of people. It's not loving, and it's misapplied scripture. You are blood guilty for many suicides across the whole of the globe. Yes, I've heard the argument said, People make a choice when they get baptized into this corporation. Many of them that get baptized are children. They were born in. They know nothing else. 8-year-olds, 11-year-olds being baptized. Many of them we know here on the activist circuit now. Some famous ones that were baptized at a very early age. And now you sit in judgment of them and you're willing to condemn them. The whole world is watching now. And as time goes on, more and more of this exposure is taking place, covering all of these different issues that you try to keep a lid on, but it's not going to work. So I say, Michael, please, when you're making your decision and you're thinking of the micro of your family unit, also think about the macro. Think about what this organization is really all about and where these diktats come from, where this governance comes from, where the threats really come from. And do your research and keep researching, because there's much out there for you to, at least at this stage, make a comprehensive decision before you make it. You have a few days. I hope this helps. If you want to get in contact with me again privately, then please, we can do that. If you have Skype, we can arrange something for later. We wish you all the best, Michael, and to your family, who are still JWs. We wish they could all be free and away from the clutches and the destructiveness of this cult. In the meantime, our hearts are out with you, as I'm sure all those that are watching this as well. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.